Emma, what's up, dude? All right, first important thing, organization, new folder. Just right click that shit, Emma's stuff, and name stuff, dude. Takes 1 second, just press enter, name it. You got your skull, logo, hat, that's good. Art project, hat, OG for original hat. Okay, and here's what I would do. I'm going to open all these files, Command O in Photoshop. If your files aren't set to open in Photoshop already, like if they open in preview, do this. And this is how to see how big a file is too. Right there, 1.9 megabyte. Command I or get info. So Command I. And right here, open with. Make sure it's set to Photoshop, set change all. For JPEGs, PNGs, and whatever image, other image files you want to work with, maybe GIF. I don't know. I don't know what you do. Anyways, dude. So here's what I would do here. First of all, oops, shit, don't do that, dude. First of all, Command Option I or image size, 300 DPI. Everything you want 300 DPI. Okay, take your wand select tool, set it to contiguous. Just go in, kind of roughly select shit. It doesn't really matter at this point because you're gonna go back after and fix the rest with the quick selection tool. Okay, so to add, it's already set to default to add more to the selection, right? But undo that. That's not what you want to do. You want to take away because the wand selected too much. So you actually hold down Option, and that you can just slowly kind of paint away the parts that you want to keep. Sometimes it overdoes it and you have to go back because Photoshop isn't as smart as you, but I mean it takes all of 2 seconds to kind of do that. Okay, I like doing the background and then just inverting it after. It makes it a lot easier. Oh, thanks. So whatever, I mean, you pretty much get the idea. I'm doing this with a mouse, so it takes a little bit longer. But I would get a tablet, even a cheap little Wacom Bamboo, something like that. Whatever. Anyway, you get the picture. I'm not gonna do too great of a job here, even though this is pretty damn good. Okay, then what I would do is either just, you want to release the background, and I would either just, you can take it as is, okay, or you can refine the edge, which is select, refine edge, or Option Command R. Okay, and what's nice about this tool is you can kind of touch up stuff that you fucked up with this little brush that just automatically appears. I mean, you can zoom in and like really get some detail rocking, but I mean, you know, you get the point. Whatever. Anyway, and then what's also nice about that is sometimes you get a really hard sort of line selected around it, so you can do things like you can feather out the line. I mean, that's obviously a bit extreme right there, but I like to feather the line because this is the natural line. Hard, rigid, kind of gross. Feather the line a bit, smooth it a bit. I mean, if you want it even harder, you can bump up the contrast. If you want, you can shift the edge outwards or inwards. I usually shift the edge a little bit outwards and bump up the feather, and that seems to work nicely. And then you can either just delete that, or you can delete that from that layer, but I don't like to get rid of my original image. So what I'll do here is I'm going to invert my selection, which is Command Shift I, or select inverse. Okay, and then I'm going to duplicate this part, which I don't know where that is. All that I know is it's right here, I think. Oops, never mind. I fucked up there. But what I do is Command J, and that just copies what's in that selection. So now you have this skull. Okay, so change the name of that, Command backslash question mark button, whatever you want to call it, or forward slash. I forget what that's called. Skull. Change this one. You can also just double click on the name to OG skull. You got to stay organized. Okay. Okay. So that's your skull. That's ready. Select Command A, copy, paste that shit into there. Doesn't matter. You can bring this to the front either by dragging it or pressing Command. I don't even know what that's called. Sort of the square bracket. Okay, and then blow this up. To maintain proportions when you blow something up, you have your V selection tool, which is just V on the keyboard. I forget what it's called, just your basic selection tool. Show transform controls. Bring it to the edge. Hold down Shift to blow it up like that. And then to keep it in the same spot, you can hold down Option and Shift, and it'll blow up from the center. But anyways, I mean, I don't know how big this needs to be actually. So I'm gonna select this so I have a better idea of how you're doing your proportions here. I'm gonna send that to the back, Command Shift square bracket thing. I don't know, it's right beside the P button. And I'm gonna put the opacity on that on 50, name it OG. And then another thing I'm going to do too is just add a white background, so there's a base to everything. So you can go Layer, New Fill Layer, Solid Color. Or you can just, you can use the paint bucket and fill in, just fill it in white, a new layer. But I like to use a fill layer. Okay, so that's in the back, everything's good. This is the banner. And then what I would do for this, I would just take the lasso tool, or lasso, people say it differently. Nice and quick. Boom. Delete that stuff. Deselect. And the thing with banners and stuff like this is you can see if you zoom in, that didn't blow up too well. So if I was to have something like that, what I would actually do to make it nice and crisp and clean, I would go select all, Command A, copy, and then I would open Spotlight so I can bring up Illustrator, which will take a second. Once Illustrator is up, I would just open a new file, paste in, what the fuck? Paste in the the thing I copied from Photoshop, and then under Image Trace, which is one of the windows you can open here. It's right here. I would hit Ignore White. Actually, no, I wouldn't. I would just hit Preview under black and white, just like standard mode, see what it does. and that's not super good. So paths I would boost up a little bit because it'll follow the path a little bit better. Corners maybe I'd pop up a little. I don't know. I mean, you pretty much get the point. It's gonna look nicer than you know, all the pixelation and anti-aliasing that you get in Photoshop. So anyways, once that's done, you don't even have to, you can expand it if you want, but you don't even have to expand it. You can just copy, and I mean, the thing is, now it's vectorized. Now it's like I can copy it in as a smart object, and I can say, oh, I want it this big. I mean, it's gonna look weird until you press enter and say how big you want it, but you know, I want it just like eyeballing from yours because I got the background in my way. I want it about like that big. I think maybe a little bit smaller. It's better to have a smart object bigger than smaller because you know, blowing something up is a lot harder and you lose a lot of quality compared to shrinking something down. So once you have your smart object in there, in order to be able to edit it, you actually have to rasterize it because it's still technically a vector. That's why it's a smart object. So you right click, rasterize layer, you know, change that to banner, go to the old one, delete that. With this one, go back to my and I mean, the thing about these tools, any tool under the same name you can switch to by pressing I mean, you get to the wand tool, you know, so I'll hit that. You get to the wand tool by pressing W, but if I wanted to go to the magic one or the quick selection tool, I press Shift W. And same thing if I want to go back, Shift, 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 you see? Shift W, okay. Anyways, wand tool, what the fuck? Wrong layer. Go to the banner. Select the outside. Delete that shit. Bring this down here. And then when you press V, when you're using the selection tool, all the numbers count as opacity. So 9 is 90, 80, 70, 60, 50, 40, you know, and so on. So I just put it on, I like to put stuff on 50 when I'm kind of lining it up. Once again, holding down Option and Shift. So Shift constrains the proportions of height and width, so you're not like stretching your image out or making it, you know, look all warped. And Option shrinks it to the center. Otherwise, it's going to shrink to whatever the opposite corner is, I think, from where you're dragging. Anyway, whatever, doesn't matter. Okay. So, banner's done, still on V, just press 0 to get the 100% opacity back up. And then the next thing I'm going to do is the hat. You've already sort of cut out the hat. The thing is, I would have taken the hat and put it up against a white wall. It's easier to blow out a white wall than it is all this confusing information in the back. I'm not going to use the one that you used. I'm actually just going to quickly try and do this. So I always like to release the background. And different from last time, I'm actually going to just duplicate the layer now, so I'm not, and hide the original, so I'm not operating on the original one. Oops, shit. Okay, and then once again, I mean, quick selection tool, kinda, not so much, whatever. See, quick selection tool, that's why you want like really hard colors, because it can be like, oh, this is all green. And even then, you can turn down the tolerance, because the tolerance says, it's just like how lenient it'll be. So if I only put 10, it's only going to select this sort of range of green. If I put, I usually put 50. I like 50, 40, 60, like in that range, where it's like, you know, it's still relatively sensitive, but it's not, gonna grab too much or too little information. Then once again, Shift W to switch over to my quick selection tool. Oh shit. You know what I forgot to do? Check the size. 300. So select, and I didn't do that for the banner. I should have sort of done that before I took it over. This video is going to be pretty long, but this is going to help you if you watch this whole thing, dude. Resolution 300. Bam. Back up. Take your one select. Or actually, this isn't one select. This is a quick select. And maybe quick select will just be easier for this because there's no... Yeah, see? That was easy as hell. Pop all that shit out. But, you know, like I said, I do it against a white wall or even get a white piece of paper or any sort of thing like that. And that would just make it a whole lot easier on you. Oh, shit. Uh-oh. Sorry, I'm using my magic mouse and it, like the scroll on it acts as zoom. Anyway, this part here is pretty sensitive. Sometimes when I have, that's the thing with all select tools, you can use them together, right? So like sometimes when I have a weird edge like that, I'll switch over to the lasso tool, and you can always add to a selection or anything like that by holding down Shift, and you'll see just like Option will take away from this selection, Shift is going to add to it. So when I have a weird stuff like that, I go, and just kind of use my drawing to help me out. Anyways, but whatever. I'm going to go back to quick selection, get the rest of this nice and quick. Okay. I mean, that's not too bad, whatever. And then once again, refine edge, select, boom. I've shifted it in too much. I'd shift it out a little tiny bit. And that looks passable. Maybe touch that up. Ah, fuck, that was stupid. Whatever, that's good. I mean, you get the point. Oops. Okay. Oh, to go in between windows like that, Control Tab, Control Tab, Control Shift Tab to go backwards. So paste that in, Command V, whatever. Take this, blow it up a bit. Shit, I should have adjusted the skull before, whatever, name it hat. Oops, sorry, dude. So take, you know, your skull's about, I don't know, like that size-ish. Okay. I mean, that looks good to me. Take your hat. You can move the banner back, I guess. The skull stuff, I mean, you can delete now if you want or whatever. Usually when I have originals and stuff like that, I like to group stuff together. So like that, and then, where is it? Oh, down at the bottom here, the little folder, create a new group. Or you can press Command G. Rename that skull. Hide that for now. Go on the hat, V. Something like that. That's pretty good. 0. And now, and I'm pretty sure you probably did something like this to get the other side of the hat. I would just take this side with the I think it's called the marquee tool. I'm not sure. Or rectangular marquee tool, yeah. Another selection tool. I would just sort of kind of select another bit of the hat. Command C to copy. Command D to deselect. Command V to paste. Grab that shit and edit, transform, flip horizontal. I'd bring it up over here. Maybe this will work, maybe it won't. Then again, you should have just taken a better picture, you freaking dork. I don't know, something like that. And then once that's there, I would move it behind the hat layer. I would merge the two, merge layers, or Command E. And then I would do something like either take the patch tool, or maybe the stamp tool, content aware tool, I don't know, just like whatever tool, and fix that shit up. I mean, obviously this isn't going very well, so maybe the stamp tool. So you press Option to sample, and then you can just sort of like paint. Oops. I mean, you get the idea. I'm not gonna, well, apparently I am gonna sit here all day trying to show you. And then maybe the smudge tool. The square brackets, any brush you have, enlarge, increase and decrease size. So I just take the smudge tool, kind of blend it a little bit, whatever. I mean, that's, what do you want from me? So that looks okay. That's not too bad. What I would do to help me visualize how the cap sits on the skull's head, I would just make the hat sort of invisible for a second. And you know what I'll do here? We'll actually duplicate that layer, hide the first one, take the second one, bring it down, and I'll show you another little trick. Because now, you know, maybe it's like, oh, I like the positioning of it here better, but it's going over his eyes, which I don't really like. And I mean, you can take this and kind of push that up like that, but that doesn't really look realistic, does it? So another thing you can do is you can go edit, transform, perspective. Maybe not perspective. Maybe that was the wrong choice. Not perspective. Sorry. Puppet warp. And then you can sort of set a bunch of points. Oops. Shiza. Edit. Puppet warp. You know, you can set, you have to set points to kind of anchor down the spots that you don't want to move. You know, I don't want to move any of that area. It doesn't matter where those ones go, but these ones matter. These ones are the ones you want to sort of bring back. So I would do it around the brim, maybe another one there, and then just kind of do it like that. I mean, I don't like where the one is sitting. See that one point is like kind of going into his head all weird. Oops. Yeah, I don't like where that's sitting. So I mean, you can adjust individual points and whatever. It doesn't really matter. Well, it does matter because it's the difference between, you know, it just helps you get a product that you like a little bit better. I mean, this isn't my, you know, my best, but anyways, after you're done, you can also hide the mesh so you can have a better idea of what it actually looks like. I mean, that looks fucked, but you can go back and fix stuff. Anyways, whatever. You get the point. I was just trying to show you something something different. So that looks like a little bit, maybe a little bit more convincing or whatever. I don't really know. Maybe not to you. I'm gonna hide the original one. But to me, that looks pretty good. And I mean, you can compare it to the other one. Jet V100. So that looks like that. That looks like that. I mean, it's up to your personal preference. And then you can use, I mean, you can use the smudge tool to kind of like even it back out. turn up the strength on that, bring up the size. Shiz. You know, whatever. I'm kind of screwing it up at this point, but, you know, I'm going to work with it. Okay, so I'm going to name that hat 2. And I'm just going to I'm going to group that hat. Okay, this is the point where I would save it. Never, ever, ever flatten. Don't flatten. Whatever your teacher told you, that's wrong. Okay, skull, PSD, save, all layers intact. You know, now this document is 25.3 megabytes, which is you know, it's not huge, but it's not tiny either. That's like 25 is the limit for attaching a file to an email with Gmail. Okay, what I would do next, this isn't centered. I would just press Shift and click all of these layers and kind of just center this out by eye. You know, you can always take and drag from the rulers if that helps you, you know, but I don't really care about rulers, so that does help. And you can hide and reveal rulers with command, what is it called? No, that's the wrong one. Yeah, command semicolon. Okay, so now looking at yours, the next thing I need to do is separate this into printable layers. Okay, so how I would do this, based on kind of your design, I would do this. I'm going to leave the banner alone for now. Okay, for now I'm actually just going to focus on the skull, so that's the only thing I'm going to keep. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do, if you have the layer selected, if you hold Command and you go over the thumbnail, you'll probably have a bigger thumbnail than I do because I have small thumbnails. I just have that as my setting. And click. It'll select the area of that thing. So just like in yours where you have that gray area, all that I would do now is with that area either create a new layer and use the paint bucket and fill that in, or create a fill layer, which is my favorite thing. So I would create a fill layer, call it skull base. Okay, I'd make it, you know, the color that you want, just like whatever that gray is. I can actually take that exact gray. If you just press I, which is the eyedropper tool, I can select that exact color. Copy that code 626262 and paste it into my fill layer. Okay, and I'm gonna just bring that skull on top so I can see it again. Or no, I won't. Anyways, I'll hide that for now. The next thing I would do is I would turn this into well, there's a couple things you can do. If you wanted to do it your way, I would duplicate this. Actually, no, the first thing I would do, I'd select it all, copy it, make a new file, color mode, I'd make grayscale, okay? Paste it in there, just so I have a grayscale version of it, select all, copy, and Command Shift V to paste it in, oh, what the shit? To paste it in the exact place. Usually that's supposed to work. It didn't that time. I don't know why. Okay, so now I got a grayscale version of the skull. Gray skull, He-Man reference. And I would do one of two things. If I was to do it your route where you have the hard black and white, I would simply just use curves. which is under image adjustment curves or Command M. Okay. But you'd have to do it to this original file. Sorry. So Command M. That brings up the white. That brings up the black, and you can just sort of fiddle around with that until you get, you know, an extreme contrast that you can use to copy and paste. And I mean, like, you can simplify it like you did, which is pretty much ideal. That's kind of what you want to do. And then once it's black, I would just use the wand select tool again, select everything, deselect, turn off contiguous so you select everything that's black, and copy, bring it over, paste, and then see how it looks over top of my gray base. Boom, just like that. So, I mean, that's okay, not too bad. But if you were exposing to a screen, what I would do, and it's a nice effect because silk screens, you can accomplish this. With your original grayscale file, I would go mode, bitmap, flatten, whatever, halftone screen, okay? And basically what this is going to do, you can mess with this a bit. Frequency you usually want to keep around 50 lines per inch. It's going to actually turn the image into a series of dots. And it isn't picked up very well on a computer screen. So if you zoom in, you can actually see there's a lot more detail to it. But the computer screen just doesn't know how to translate all those tiny dots from far away. So if you come up close, you can see, oh yeah, you know, this is actually a pretty accurate rendering of the skull in dots, in what's called a halftone. But the computer screen doesn't know how to do it. Anyways, before you copy this back to the other one, you actually have to turn it back to grayscale. Okay? And then once it's back in grayscale, I mean, what I would probably do is release the background, select everything that's white, delete that, deselect, and now you can actually kind of see it from afar. Select all, copy, paste it in, and then find the right spot for it. And if you're using a silk screen, you can actually get that much detail. So we'll name that one halftone. We'll name this one contrast. That one is base. That one is grayscale, and so on. And I'm going to call that one OG, and I'm just going to delete the old one because that's sort of an important part as you go along, is tidying up as you go. Anyways, I don't want to bore you, man. This video's already been so long already. You can do the same sort of thing with the hat. But if you do choose to use films, you should get a registration mark and put them in the four corners. So mark silk screen, so that you can register each image. One like this. Put them 1, 2, 3, 4 corners. But anyways, that's pretty much what I would do if I were you. I don't know if there's any sort of other things I can show you here at the end. Oh, and then you would just sort of, if you were finalizing this as an image, you would take all the black stuff, every layer that's going to be black, and you would join it. So I would take the banner, and like I said, you know, keep the originals. I would take the banner, so duplicate that, Command J, and I would take the halftone, Command J, and I would, you know, if that's the only black information in the image, I would take that and I would Command E, merge it together. So that's my black layer. Oops. That's my black layer. You know, that's my base layer for that. So on and so forth. But what your teacher said about flattening everything, never ever do that. Always keep every single part of the image separate. And if you do want to flatten something, you can do it as simple as this. All the things I have showing, I can just, you know, like I said, Command J, and Command J, take all the copies, hold down Command to select multiple ones, drag them to the top, and then merge, E, and then call that flattened. Okay? Another easier way to do it is, I believe, and you know, I don't know if, see, oh, there it is. Flatten image. I think, actually, no, it's not flatten image. I think it's flatten visible, so it's Command Option Shift E. No, what the shit? Command Option Shift E. Oh, there we go. What? Is that right? I don't know, we're about to find out. Yeah. So Command Option Shift E, and that creates a quickly flattened image of all visible layers. Mind you, because I didn't hide the white background before I did that, it actually included the white background. So you'd actually want to go boom like that. Command Option Shift E. Come on, man. Command Option Shift E. And there you go. All together. Okay? You always want a transparent background. Never flatten, never make something the background layer, because it'll give it a white background, and then if you want to go back and edit it, if I want to go back and you know, take parts out of this skull or brush it up a little bit, I'm gonna have to retrace the whole thing because now it's been flattened to white. Never flatten an image. Bad habit. But anyways, I guess I'll give you this file so you can work with it or kind of see what I was talking about. Always save, and don't always listen to your teachers because they don't know what they're talking about. Okay, hope you do well in this assignment. If you have any other questions, let me know. Bye. Oh, what the shit? How do I stop this video? So, I forgot like one thing I wanted to show you really quick. So let's say you were getting ready to print and you wanted to go get this layer out. Okay. First off, if you were to save this flattened, let's say you just wanted the flattened image on its own, you can save it as a PNG. Okay. Never save as JPEG. JPEG is for unless it's something going on the internet, and then you even would resize it to 72 dpi. Okay, so save it as a PNG, and why you do that is because it maintains the transparent background. And like I said before, it's much it's important to have a transparent background because it's much easier to just toss white underneath it than it is to remove white from a JPEG. And if you save it as a JPEG, JPEGs don't have transparency, so it's not going to maintain. See, I'll open the PNG now. So now there you go. It's just one layer, PNG, transparent background. You know, and then you can pop a white background behind it, you know, in 2 seconds. It doesn't matter. And if you need to save it as a JPEG, you can either go here and resize it to 72 dpi. 72 dpi is screen resolution, 300 dpi is print resolution. Anything that you're printing, anything that's going to be a physical piece of media, always 300 dpi from the moment you start working on it. Even if the image starts out that you're working with 72 dpi, blow it up to 300 dpi and work with that. Don't make it something you do at the very end of the project and you realize, oh, okay, wait, I'm going to print this out, now I have to blow it up to 300 dpi. Because it's going to lose a lot of quality, it's going to look pixelated, it's going to look bad. But if it's going on web, 72 dpi is fine. I always like to work in 300 dpi just because, you know, like I said before, it's easier to start with something big and shrink it down than it is something small and blow it up. Okay? So anyways, if I was to save it for the web, you go here, save for web, or Command Option Shift S, where you can save it as a JPEG, PNG, 8 or 24-bit, or a GIF. And I think that was pretty much it. Oh, but yeah, when you would go to print the films, I would take the black, I would save it as a PNG. Unless for whatever reason the printer requests a JPEG, I would save it as a PNG and name it, you know, skull black, and then with the red layer, skull red, skull whatever, and group it all together. And I'll show you something real quick right now, because when you sent me that email, you said you couldn't send me that stuff. All of that stuff was smaller than, you know, if you had to send this file, no chance. Because that's 105 megabytes, you'd have to upload it to Google Drive and then send me the link on Google Drive or the one you use, Dropbox or whatever. But if I was doing, if I was sending the ones that you sent to me, I would do this. So skull JPEG, logo PNG. See, they have that saved as a PNG. Hat PSD, hat OG, an art project. I'd make a, well, you know, I'd make a new folder. You know, email for Reid. And you can either just attach that folder as is, but what I like to do, which is convenient for people, if you right click, compress email for Reid, and it creates a zip file. So when I get that on my end, I can just go boop, email for Reid, and it decompresses the zip file, and then all the files are there. But you can just take that, and in Gmail, you know, you can just go like this. Like I said, you can take the whole folder, or I mean, you can select everything in the folder, hold down Shift to select them all, open, and it's going to upload all of those. Bam, 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 bam. Or the zip file is nice because it's one file and there's not 7. I mean, with the images, they get a preview of the image in the email like this. But the zip file it's clean, it's simple, it's a single file. I find it appealing to compress before I send. But it has to be under 25 megabytes if you're using Gmail. Otherwise, like I said, you have to upload to Google Drive or Dropbox or whatever. Anyways, it doesn't matter. Hopefully this stuff helps. I'll talk to you soon.